Okay. Hey Shrouk, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you for asking. I'm really happy to be here and thank you so much for being part of this chat today.
Did you hear that in the background just now?
No?
There's something that replied to me. I'm happy to be here.
Oh my god, that's creepy.
Okay,
Anyways,
so we can start over if you want, or we can just let it go, and it can be a funny part of the video.
it could be a funny part of the video because it's supposed to be formal anyway, so we could edit this chatting part off. But yeah.
Oh, great.
Okay, so just for the interview, I'm going to introduce the project a little bit. As you know, I've developed a project called Soldering to help young women pursue careers traditionally associated with men, and to try and remove some of the stigma and barriers to women and young women getting involved in careers like engineering.
I love the name Soldering Sisters, by the way.
Thank you, yeah. So this conversation is a chance for us to hear about your journey as an engineer and to inspire young women to perhaps think that it's possible to do the same. It would be great to hear about some of your achievements and also some of your challenges as an LGBT plus woman. Shrouk, before I let you introduce yourself, I'm going to read a couple of sentences about you, if that's okay.
Okay.
So Shrouk El-Attar is a successful woman in engineering. She is an electronic design engineer and has been crucial in opening access to higher education for asylum seekers, and is also a campaigner for LGBT plus rights. In 2018, she won Young Woman of the Year as part of the Woman on the Move Awards. Plus, was listed as one of the BBC's 100 most influential women worldwide. So, Shrouk, welcome.
Hello, thank you for having me. How are you today?
Doing great. Thanks for asking. So, right, are you ready for the questions?
Go on, shoot.
So, the first question I want to ask you is, what inspired you to get into engineering in the first place?
So you might have heard me say this before, but I remember when I was young, I was looking at my TV, and back then they were really big as well. They had like a big box behind it, and I thought there's actually small people living inside my TV. That's why, and they come and say hi to me, and interview themselves with other people. And then one day I realized that that's not true. I realized it's just like an electronic machine made by people like me. And for me, that was just mind-blowing, because I thought it was magic. How did humans create that magic? And I wanted to be that magician. I didn't realize it was called engineering back then.
That's cute, yeah. And my second question is, you started from nothing, and how did you become everything? In other words, how did you achieve so much?
It's really sweet that you think I've done everything. So actually, maybe this is something that's important to mention. I get imposter syndrome all the time. Like, there are days where I have, a bad day at work, and then be like, oh shoot, like I'm giving that talk, on a stage in front of loads of engineers in a couple of days. Like, how am I gonna do this? So I think yeah, it's just important to recognize that we all get this, and we're all gonna have bad days. How did I achieve this in one day? I think it's not one thing. It's kind of having access to the right opportunities, and really networking is important. And I happen to be naturally all right at it. And I don't kind of go and meet people and be like, oh, I'm only meeting you for this long-term plan that will benefit me. I'm actually interested in understanding people and understanding, their interests. And I feel like that kind of worked in my interest. But honestly, also just being in the right country at the right time. And that's something that's really hard for me to process, because I was born in Egypt, and I know, had I grown up there, I would have probably not had access to the same opportunities that I have access to.
Well, that's really inspiring to hear.
Is it?
Yeah.
What do you think about that? Do you ever think about this?
Well, how different each country is.
Yeah.
Sorry. Actually, I do, because like it's same with like my home country, Pakistan. It's like they see things in a very different way than we do. for example, here we see women working like so normal, which is like, it's fine. It's normally fine. But in Pakistan, it's different. Like, it's looked down upon.
Yeah.
It's like, it's just a really, like, I'd say it's a very negative, like, area to live in. Cultural thinking and all that. Do you understand what I mean?
Were you born in Pakistan, or is it just your family are from Pakistan?
I was born and raised here. My dad's from Pakistan, though. My mum was born and raised here as well. We've all the siblings were born and raised here.
But you still have this Pakistani identity?
Yeah. And also, it's like the community I live in also have that, like, impact from Pakistan as well, because half of them are from there as well. So yeah. It's their mindset, so it's hard for them to change their mindset, which I understand.
Yeah.
But like, you've lived here for like 30 years now, so.
Yeah, I think, so I've met a lot of, there's a lot of progressive people in Egypt. It's just the system doesn't allow for that progress to flourish because the people on the top do not believe those things. But, people individually do. It's kind of being allowed to do it, which is really sad. But do you get, like, if you're comfortable talking about it, do you have a bit of an identity crisis sometimes? Because I have
sometimes, yeah. Sometimes I do, but it's a bit of a weird one, because with my intimate family, we're not like that. Like, we normalize everything. We could do what we want. It's like this. We're not like I don't know what to explain it. Like the women in our house could do what we want. There's no issue.
Yeah.
But with like relatives, like my grandma, for example, like, she'll have an issue with, like, I don't know, with working or something like that, or like, I guess just not becoming a housewife, or not wanting to marry at a certain age.
Yeah.
They're just there like, what do you want me to do? And then it's like, it's such a weird thing because she's so used to it.
Yeah.
She got married at a young age, and she was brought up and raised in Pakistan and came here at a young age as well. And she had like so many kids. She was a housewife herself. So it's a bit like, it's hard to change her mindset. We try to make her understand.
Yeah.
Economically, it's okay. Culturally, obviously, there's an issue, but we don't really care about culture. As long as it's okay, Islamically, it's fine. But then, like, at the end of the day, it's hard to change their mindset. So we try not. Yeah.
I've got a similar thing. So my family, compared to a lot of British people, I guess, are a bit more conservative. But compared to other Egyptians, they're not. So like, I was allowed to have friends who were boys, for example, and my friends who were girls, like, their families didn't allow them to do that. But at the same time, like, I remember my mum asking me to clean my room and my brother's room, because it's one day he's gonna have a wife to like clean his room for him, but like, I'm gonna have to be someone's cleaner one day.
Yeah. It's just crazy. I hate the.
Yeah. But like, she obviously, like, she was actually supportive of me being in electronics. But she didn't, like, for my family, it didn't really matter what I chose to do. So they would have been supportive if it's art too. Say again, sorry?
That's really nice. It's inspiring that your family's like supportive.
Yeah, but the thing is, it didn't matter what I was interested in, because one day I'll be some guy's wife and I'll be his. So it didn't matter what I was. It mattered what my brother was interested in, because one day he's going to provide for my family. But it didn't matter what I was interested in, because I didn't have to work.
Yeah, it's like the culture sees it as like, what's the point of women working and getting a degree if one day they'll marry? They'll just have to be home anyways. But really, we could work while we're married. This is stupid thinking. But
yeah, do you think it's changing a bit?
I mean, I feel like baby steps, kind of. There are like a few, like, that's just still headstrong about the idea of women should just stay home.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, now it's better than back in the days. Do you understand what I mean? Like, it was worse back in the days.
Yeah, I think in Egypt, actually, the opposite. Like, I think I watched films from kind of the black and white era, and it looked like there was so much more freedom. But actually, I speak to people now in Egypt, in the LGBT plus community, and they are more progressive than anybody in the UK. Do you know what I mean? It's just, they have to be underground, so people don't see that, even though it exists in Egypt, it exists everywhere, but people don't see that, and they always associate it with the, whatever the media shows us, that traditional kind of conservative mindset, which of course it does exist, but you know, there's more than just that.
Yeah, I understand. It's even like, it's just this weird like thinking where like the woman can't live her life until she's married. There's always that saying where it's like, do it till you get married, or you get married. But it's a bit like, but when I'm married, the guy's gonna have a problem with it. So when the guys have a problem, when am I ever gonna live my life? So like basically, culture ruined the idea of marriage.
Yeah.
Like wanting to do whatever you want, but like everything's fine. But it's just culture ruins everything. This is why I like the people like my sister's age don't even want to get married, because they're just like, what's the point? We want to live our life, get a degree, get a job.
Yeah, I think both options should exist, you know, and just should be as options, not as expectations. But yeah, I hear you.
Yeah. It's so sad, but you know, it's starting to get better.
Yeah.
It's still like, you know, a battle at the end of the day.
Totally.
So my next question is,
shoot.
how are women engineers treated in Egypt, where you come from, compared to how women engineers are viewed in the West? Do you think there are any differences, as we've spoken?
That is such a good question, and like, I don't think anybody's asked me that question before. People are always concentrating on kind of the UK experience, and I usually bring it up in conversation, but it's never been that like an interviewer asks me that. So hey, creative questions there, Nabilah. So I don't know if it's the same in Pakistan actually, but in Egypt, the strange thing is, and the thing that maybe people in the UK will be surprised about, is the uptake for engineering. So people studying engineering is almost 50-50. And I wonder why. I feel like we've got something to learn from there. But then when it comes to work, it's a completely different story. So you don't, you know, it's a 50-50 people qualified to be engineers, but there is so much discrimination when it comes to actual work. I think, I might be wrong, but I think there is actually like a law that prioritizes men over women for jobs, because I'll have to double check that. But I remember seeing something like after the 2011 revolution that like that was a thing now. But it's always been in the culture, and I feel like culture is a lot of the time is like, you know, more powerful than any law anyway. So you didn't have that written in law. It was just the done thing.
Yeah.
How is it like in Pakistan?
Well, in Pakistan, it's like, the thing is, women can become whatever they want to become. Like, say, okay, I know this one teacher. She was my teacher, my maths teacher. She's a doctor, and her husband's also a doctor.
Nice.
She was never taken as a serious doctor because she was a feminine, like the female, sorry. So she was never taken serious. So it was just a bit like, but she's also a doctor, so why is he getting more praise than her? This doesn't make any difference.
Absolutely, yeah. And it happens here too, Nabilah. It really happens here too. And I've seen it happen. It happened to me. And I've seen kind of people, you know, I'd do some calculations, for example, and then like an email would circulate with my calculations from a different engineer. He wouldn't say that it's his calculations, but everybody would assume that it's him because it came from his kind of address. And it's just, you know, and it's also just picking your battles, because you can't kind of, you know, you can if you want to call every little thing every day, but it's so tiring and it's so mentally draining. But we've got such a long way to go here. Like there's 12% of engineers in the UK are women, and that's up from 8% when I started studying in 2013. So that's 4% in 7 years. That's insane. Slow.
It's the same like
humans do, but it's so slow.
Yeah, I know. It's the same in like hospitals. Like, say, like, I don't know, a woman needs a doctor, and then they'll be asking for a female doctor, but then they won't let their daughters go get a degree. So why are you asking for a female one when you won't let your own daughters become one? So actually, I expect this to happen, like, you know.
That reminds me of belly dancing. Ooh, tone change. So belly dancing is such a part of Egyptian culture. You cannot have a wedding without a belly dancer in Egypt. Okay, it's not a wedding if you have it. And you know, but if your daughter wants to be a belly dancer, that is so unacceptable. And the thing is, we look now at the belly dancing scene, not just in the world, in Egypt. the biggest belly dancers now are Westerners, are white Westerners, and I feel like the art has been really like I watch how they dance today, and it's beautiful, and I want it to still exist, but it's just sad that that's the main thing now, that it's not what I grew up with at all. So yeah, it's like you want a female doctor, but you're not going to let your daughter study, but you also want. Hello. Oh, can you hear me still?
Right. Yeah, I understood. Yeah, I understand what you're trying to say. It's like, it's crazy how the culture's changing and everything like that. Just because we're not allowed to do something. It's just like, but it's part of our culture, so why do you have an issue with me doing it?
Yeah.
I hate the cultural thinking, because it just makes you think, like, why? Like, what's the issue? Like, why would you rather me waste my youth just sitting home all the time?
But Nabilah, all of that conservatism has been exported. So at least in Egypt, I'm pretty sure in Pakistan as well, but that's been as a result of colonization. So, the laws that LGBT plus people are sectioned under today, are imprisoned under today, are colonial laws. And if you look at ancient Egyptian history, if you look at old Egyptian history, it's very liberal. It's very LGBT plus friendly, the history of Islam. And it's just sad that this has been exported by the cultures that today are seen as the leaders in liberalization. It's just so ironic.
So the thing is, like, thinking about it makes me like think, like, I hate thinking about it because everyone thinks the same way as I do, and then we can't do anything about it to stop it. So it's just a bit like, what's the point in talking about it? Do you know what I mean? But it gets me so annoyed.
Yeah.
It's like a never-ending loop, honestly.
Yeah.
So, next question. As a refugee and an LGBT plus woman, how does it feel to be recognized in the UK, and what were some of the things you had to overcome?
I feel so I do, oh God, it's all coming out. I do have the survivor's guilt. I feel really guilty for what I have all the time, and apparently that's a common thing, especially amongst refugees, especially amongst women and minorities. So I'm also proud of myself, and I feel like I have the what's the term? I have the duty to go and share this with people, so that people like Nabilah can achieve this and more. And I know you can. But it feels great. I'm not going to lie, it feels really good, and it feels really nice to be recognized, especially in the engineering world. So I know people will see it like my BBC 100 most influential women in the world, or United Nations Young Woman of the Year as kind of more prestigious, but I love my engineering awards. I love having the Da Vinci Awards. I love being called the top 6 young women engineers in the UK by the IIT, because for me, being a woman and being creative and being a good engineer, I feel like people always concentrate on the human rights work, on the creative work, and see me less of an engineer. So being recognized in that means so much more for me.
It must feel so like empowering for you.
It does, yeah, definitely.
Because like, you haven't just inspired me, you've also inspired the young girls we've had an event with, because even I could just tell they're really like, wow, that's insane.
Oh, that's so nice.
Yeah, and even the other girls I used to work that was part of this project, like they were like, oh my gosh, her story, her background, like everything was just so inspiring.
Oh, Nabilah.
And we were all like stressing about grades and like our schoolwork. So then we just felt really like, oh my gosh, we can't do it. Like, obviously it'll be a struggle. But at the end of the day, well, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. That's the right thing.
Like Nabilah, you inspire me. You really do understand. Okay, so you've put the Soldering sisters together. Okay, a lot of stuff have happened. There's so many commitments, and then the pandemic happened, and look at you, you're still doing that. Like, I don't think I would have been able to do that. Like, seriously.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So the last question is, hopes and dreams for women in engineering in the future?
Hopes and dreams for women in engineering in the future? So I really hope that we'll reach a 50-50. If we've got a 50-50 population, we need to have a 50-50 engineers split. And, you know, I'm being reductive because obviously there's other people who are not men and women. So, you know, there's non-binary people and there's other gender minorities too. I just want the engineering community to be able to represent the wider global community.
Yeah.
But I'm really also wary, and, you know, hopefully we're not going to fall into that. But I want to remind people that we devalue women's work. Once a woman starts doing something, even if it's skilled, we see it as less skilled. Like, I think I told you, Nabilah, about computer engineers. They all used to be women. They all used to be women. It used to be seen as women's job. Were they paid well?
No.
No, they were not. Was it looked up on like as a highly skilled job? No. No, but the thing is, and this is, you know, something
it's insane because they look at it like that because it's women doing it, not men.
Yeah.
If men were doing it, it would just be like all over the papers, all over everything.
Exactly, and that's exactly what happened now that men do it. You know, now that men have taken over, it's gained prestige, it's gained money, it's gained money. Like, people get paid a lot more for it now. But what I discovered really recently, like 3 months ago, is that it's happened the other way around too. So ticket agents, when they used to be men, used to be paid a lot more. Now that they're mostly women, pay has dropped massively. Same with biologists, same with designers, same with people in the what's it called, thingy industry, you know, when you go out and have fun. That industry is like by 57%, pay has dropped by 57% now because women are doing the same jobs that men used to do. So I hope that when it gets to 50-50, and I say when, not if, we still recognize the incredible amount of work and creativity and geniosity, I don't know, that goes into engineering.
Yeah, I understand. It's like, I feel like it will happen. Like, it will happen because like things seem to get back to normal. Obviously, there's a few setbacks, but we'll obviously get there eventually.
Yeah.
Look at it anyway. So yeah. Well, thank you so much for participating. It was great having this conversation with you, and it was so empowering and like just so like awakening. I just loved it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nabilah, and I can't wait to hear what you'll do next.
Thank you.
يلا see you soon. مع السلامة.
Bye bye.